Sometimes I wish that God called me to something a little more glamorous than helping guys with porn. That's not, it's not the thing you necessarily want to have tattooed across your chest, but I just know there's people struggling out there and they need what God has given me. And so I've just purposed that, we'll pay whatever price it takes to get there. So my name is Sathiya Sam. I am the founder of Deep Clean Coaching, and we're an organization that helps men overcome pornography addiction. So, the basic premise is for years, people have combated addiction and behavioral problems with behavioral solutions. And in this kind of area where a lot of people do struggle these days, most of the mainstream solutions have been internet filters and accountability partners, and people reach out after they mess up or that kind of thing. So we've tried to offer a solution that just gets a little bit more to the heart of the matter, really resolves the underlying root issues. And the basic premise there is if you take care of the root issues, then the other behavioral things at the surface level take care of themselves. I don't think anybody says they want to revolutionize the porn recovery industry as a kid when they're growing up. I had my own struggle with pornography. That's really where this all started. So I grew up in a Christian home. We did not have the kind of home where dad was one person on stage, but a different person off. He was a very integrated person. Home life was safe. They paid money for Christian school. Everything was set up for us to make good decisions. And yet still in the computer lab of my Christian school, at the age of 11, I got exposed to pornography. Happened really completely by accident. It wasn't like some overnight thing, all of a sudden I was just hooked and couldn't give it up. It was a very gradual thing. But one thing sort of led to another. And by the time I was in university, pursuing an education, my initial career goal was to become a psychiatrist. So after long days, porn was kind of medicine to cope with the stress and the pressures of trying to achieve well and get into med school. But then secondly, it was relief. It was kind of my reward for working hard after a long day. That's kind of where everything started for me. It was my own personal struggle. When I really was pursuing freedom, the resources were very limited. So I just purposed in my heart, one day I will figure this thing out. And when I do, I'm going to do everything in my power to help other guys get it figured out as well. So that thing was kind of just a seed planted in my heart. But from when I actually purposed to get free to actually really getting free and experiencing that kind of transformation, it was about 5 years. It was in June 2018. So my wife, my fiance at the time, had been sick for about 6 months. We still didn't know what was going on. She had seen her share of specialists at that point, probably dozens. And I was kind of burnt out from that, and I was feeling a little bit hopeless about my own future career. Not that I didn't love being on staff here at the church, but my role I knew was really a fraction of what I was called to, and I didn't know what to do next or how to kind of step out. So I took a week off, and I only had one goal that week, and it was to be on the beach. I just wanted to be on the beach and relax, get some time with God, pray, vent, kind of get things off my chest, but then as well try to get some clarity. And it was probably, it probably took me about 3 days to properly decompress and really, I would say, think creatively and clearly. And in that space, I actually got a specific revelation from God about helping guys get free of porn. There were 7 specific stages. I remember kind of it's just one of those moments of clarity where you have to get something to write it down before you forget it. And so I pulled out my phone, I made a note of it, the note's still on my phone. I just wrote down the 7 stages, and that was kind of the birthplace of Deep Clean. It started there, and I had no idea what I was gonna do with it, but I at least had a system or some kind of format that I knew I could now offer the world. And the neat thing about what God showed me, I didn't realize this at the time, because like I said, it was sort of a frantic moment of just trying to get the ideas down. But I look back on it later and it was like, oh, these are the 7 stages God took me through, over that 5 years of trying to get free. And so it was cool to not just have some good ideas, but something that had a personal experience that could back it up. I know this works because this is exactly what God took me through as well. I think I resolved this in my heart probably about a year ago, after I'd been doing Deep Clean for maybe around 2 years. And what I've realized is that I'm not actually super passionate about getting people free of pornography. I am passionate about that. But what really drives me is to see people walk into their destinies. It's to see people's dreams come true. And I think I've just identified that pornography is often one of the biggest barriers that stops people from stepping into their God-given calling, because they feel disqualified, they don't feel good enough, and they feel like there's kind of this this asterisk beside anything they do in life because they have that problem behind closed doors. So that's what really drives me, and I just resolved in my heart, when I really kind of could articulate that, I just resolved in my heart, then I would do everything that it takes. I'd pay whatever price is required to help people accomplish their dreams, accomplish their goals. So yeah, we've had to make financial sacrifices. We've had to make just personal sacrifices, time sacrifices. Sometimes I wish that God called me to something a little more glamorous than helping guys with porn. That's not, it's not the thing you necessarily want to have tattooed across your chest, but I just know there's people struggling out there and they need what God has given me. And so I've just purposed that, we'll pay whatever price it takes to get there. If I had one piece of advice for anybody, it doesn't matter if you want to start a company or a ministry, or you just want to maybe grow in an area, you want to advance in what, honestly, could be anything. There's really only one thing, and that's to take action. And I think one of the common misnomers that circulates is that knowledge is power. People say that all the time, knowledge is power. As long as you have knowledge, you can survive a situation or whatever it is. I don't think that's true. I think knowledge is potential, but it's knowledge with action. That's true power. And so you just have to start. What I do today with Deep Clean looks so different than when I started. I honestly could have never dreamed of it looking this way, but I had to take all the steps that led up to this moment first. And I think a lot of people just don't do that. So if I had any piece of advice, it would just be take some action.